Hello, good day viewers. In this tutorial, we are going to learn Newton's laws of motion. First law of motion, second law of motion, and third law of motion with the help of clear examples. Newton's first law of motion. This is sometimes called law of inertia. So, Newton's first law of motion is stated as an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction, unless acted upon by an external force. This is telling us that when an object is at rest, means an object that is not in motion will continue to remain not in motion unless acted upon by an external force. External force here means unless you push it or you pull it. Let's give example. Consider this table. There is a book on it. According to the Newton's first law of motion, this book that is at rest will stay right there until you apply force on it. So that is the first part of Newton's first law of motion. Let's take another example. Look at this car. Suppose this car is in motion. It will continue with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an external force. If this car is moving, it will continue to move unless you apply a force to stop it, or unless it's stopped by an external force like a frictional force. So, according to the Newton's first law of motion, this car will continue to be in motion unless acted upon by an external force, like I have said, either by friction or the driver apply a brake. So this is all about Newton's first law of motion. Let's learn Newton's second law of motion. So the Newton's second law of motion states that the acceleration of an object depends on the mass of the object and the amount of force applied. Acceleration, the change in velocity of the object. That means the motion of the object is depend on its mass and the force applied on that object. Formula F equals to ma, where F is the force, m is the mass, and a is acceleration. Let's give example. Consider a one guy. In the first place, he has an empty cart, and in the second place, he has a cart full with items. For him to accelerate the first empty cart, it requires small amount of force to push that empty cart. But the other cart that is full with items, it requires more force than the force he will apply on an empty cart. This is telling us that the difference is that, why is that? Is because the difference in mass of the cart. An empty cart requires less force because it has less mass than a cart full with an items. So the motion of an object is depend on the force applied to it and the mass of that object. The heavier the object, the more force you need to apply in order to make it move. So let's understand Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action there is equal and opposite reaction force. Let's look at the example. Take a look at this man is trying to push a wall, and as he applied the force on the wall will push him back. The wall will push him back with the same amount of force he applied, but in different direction. So whenever you are trying to push something, the harder you push, the harder it will push you back. That means it is returning you the force you applied, but in opposite direction. So this is what that law of motion is trying to say.